going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort, and China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
The world's largest crypto exchange announcing a $200 million strategic investment in Forbes this morning to help it go public via SPAC. Joining us now exclusively is Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao, one of the 20 wealthiest people in the world, and as of now, the richest crypto billionaire. CZ, it is great to have you on the program again.
Thanks for having me.
So, CZ, walk us through why you did this deal and how it will help push the adoption of Web3.
Sure. I think Forbes is a typical Web 1.0 pre-web company, and they've lasted through the generations. It's a 100-year-old company. And most of the media businesses have had a hard time transitioning from non-web to Web 1 to Web 2. And we would really like to help them to transition to Web 3 using blockchain cryptocurrencies. So that's really the main goal for us.
Right, and it sort of fits into, I know we talked to you last time about Binance becoming less Wild West, more credibility, working with regulators. So I wonder, why is traditional media the route here versus going direct, building it yourself with Web3 tools, which some might argue is more in line with those principles?
I think media is not the only industry we will look at. It's not the only traditional industry we will look at. We will look at almost every sector, traditional industries, and we'll try to make a few acquisitions, a few investments, and try to bring them into Web3 and into the blockchain world, and that will help adoption. And on the regulation stuff, we continue our efforts to hire more people to be fully compliant everywhere, get licenses everywhere. So that hasn't changed. Those two things are independent, at least in my mind, but we are working hard to bring Web 1.0 companies into Web 3.
7 coins listed. We're doing a lot of exploration about finding compliant ways to expand that, and also, roll out some other features people have been looking for, like wallets, and we also have aspirations to take this brand global, and we would do so crypto first.
Crypto first. Explain that, because right now, obviously, Coinbase and others are already in that space.
Well, I think the path for us to go global and have the most traction is probably through crypto, and then maybe follow with other components of the offering, because from a just from a regulatory standpoint and all the other facets that come into it, it's probably the easiest way to go global.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And guys, I come back with that video just to make you think. And guys, we have CZ putting $200 million on Forbes. And we know why. To control the narrative. 100-year-old company. And we know what Forbes wants to do. That's right, go over in Asia. We know the Asian connection is about to rise. CZ knows nothing about newspapers. But we know what the New World Order uses the media for, and that's to control the minds. Web 3.0 creates the virtual world. Everything will be tokenized and put on blockchain. And we have Robinhood is going to go global through crypto. And we know the reason why they're kicking regulation down the road is because now currency is global. It's no longer about the United States. The United States dollar is going to lose its world reserve currency, and China, that digital yuan, is about to rise. And we have Biden speaking again on inflation. What is he blaming it on? Everything but what he should. That's right, the Fed and Congress. Who creates inflation? The money printers. Who gives the central bank the right to print all this money? That's right, Congress. And the only tool they have to control inflation is to raise rates. And we know with this size of a balance sheet, and you're talking about global, it's not just the United States, the global economy is going to collapse. So we're waiting on that main event, that distraction, so therefore the Fed can run the money in the back door to build a fourth industrial revolution while the markets crash and cryptos rise to save the day. And remember, the crypto teacher wrote about it a long time ago because he knows when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
But they don't produce inflation for one simple reason. They do not own a printing press on which you can turn out green pieces of paper. The only such printing press is in Washington. I say printing press, of course, in the modern age, we do it in a more sophisticated way. We use bookkeepers and accountants and computers. But it comes down to the same thing. Inflation is made in Washington because only Washington can create money. And any other attribution to other groups of inflation is wrong.
That's your job. But look, at the time, what happened was let's look at the reason for the inflation. The reason for the inflation is the supply chains were cut off, meaning that the products, for example, automobiles, the lack of computer chips to be able to build those automobiles and so they could function, they need those computer chips. They were not available. So what happens? With the number of cars were reduced, the new cars were reduced, it made up at one point 1/3 the cost of inflation because the price of automobiles were up. So what I did when I went out and made sure we started to make those domestically. We got Intel to come in and provide $20 billion to build a new facility. A number of organizations are doing the same kinds of things.
When can Americans expect some relief from this soaring inflation?
According to Nobel laureates, 14 of them that contacted me and a number of corporate leaders, it ought to be able to start to taper off as we go through this year. In the meantime, I'm going to do everything in my power to deal with the big points that are impacting most people in their home.
The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Team save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Team save New York from COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Team goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.